Greetings and welcome everyone to Oozi Earth Adventure. Oozi Earth Adventure is a 2D platformer, and now normally when I do a first impressions, I normally go, it's a genre but with a twist, or it's such and such, but this is how it differs from most other games. But in Oozi's case, that's not here, no. The way that it differs to other games is by not doing anything different. They set out to create basically just a platformer. That's it. There's no gimmicks, no puzzles, nothing like that. They just wanted to create a platformer where you platform, and that's it. That's really it. So, that's kind of interesting. Now, this just released on Steam for about $10, I believe, or $9.99 or something like that. For the first 2 weeks, there is a 20% off discount, so if you want to get it, you can. That's how much it will cost, but let's get started. Okay, so we are this little lad here. He is a dude who crashed his spaceship, and he landed in this new world, and now he's trying to find out how to get home because he lost his spacesuit and his spaceship and all that. So he's going to have to well, find it all and just carry on and such. Hold on, what does this say? We can press Control to read this. Spiders. Spiders are invulnerable. Don't jump on them. Now, you may have heard me say press Control to read that, but it says press A to continue. This is something that I find a bit weird with this game. Basically, I'm playing with a keyboard, and it's giving me the controller prompts for an Xbox 360 controller. I'm not using an Xbox 360 controller, so game, why are you doing that to me? Also there, you just saw me attack a metal snail or something like that. It had a metal shell on it, and basically what that means is that I needed to kill that monster. I had to use this butt stomp attack. By jumping and then pressing down, you can use a butt stomp. And in terms of what sort of moves you have for your character, you can move left, right, up and down just as you look up and down, and space will have you jump. Holding it down will doesn't actually seem, okay, yeah, holding it down will make you jump higher, and pressing it again will make you jump again. And as you saw me move just before, there's that butt stomp. There we go. So that's really all your moves. Oh, also, you see I'm collecting these stars, and you might have just noticed that I got an extra heart. Every 2,000 points, I believe, that you get from the stars, you will get an extra health, up to a maximum of 3 though. So that's a bit of a weird thing that they stop it at 3. I would like it if they just continued to add more on top of it, so that you constantly got more and more health as a sort of reward, rather than just limiting it at 3, which seems a bit weird. Also here, I knocked this down. Crates can fall by doing a butt stomp. So you can, if you're near them, just butt stomp and they'll fall down. Although the definition of this the game specifically says you have to be near it, but I've been like miles and miles away from a crate, and I butt stomped and it would fall down. So you don't have to be really near it. You just have to be basically within, basically just be on the same planet as it, and it'll work. Now you're probably noticing this little blue dude that's following me around. That is what is called a quantum ghost. It's a bit weird because it's supposed to basically be your Steam friends who have played the game, and it's showing you how they performed. But what's weird about it is that they will constantly swap out who you're racing against, and they'll also seem to just randomly move them around a lot. So it's not like a Ghost in terms of a racing game where you're competing against them to see who's better. It's more like you're just getting slight glimpses of what they were playing, and it just seems a bit odd how they don't really give you any real incentive to verse against them, because what you might be versing against is their 7th or 8th try when you're still on your 1st or 2nd, and so it's like you might be doing better than them, but you really can't tell, and you might be doing worse than them, but you can't tell. So it's just a weird sort of mechanic in general. Yeah, so that's something that I don't like. Also, here's something else that I don't like. Now, this game is a 2D platformer. That's understandable. And its main gimmick is that it doesn't have a gimmick. So, in terms of control, it really needs to feel absolutely perfect. Otherwise, why would I play it? Because, I mean, I can go to any website with indie games and just trip over over 2D platformers. 2D platformers are incredibly easy to come by, so they need to have something special that makes them, well, special. And this game just really doesn't sort of have any of that. Now, what's really weird about the movement is that this little character we got, Oozi, he does not react at all to inclines and inclines. Like, look at him go up. It's the same speed going up and down. Up a hill, same speed. Down a hill, same speed. He doesn't move at all, so there's no real weight to him or anything like that. It doesn't feel like I'm really, oh bloody hell. It doesn't really feel like he has any sort of weight behind him or anything like that. He just sort of feels like he's a bit too floaty. And even though he's still floaty, he also stops on a dime. So there's really just like no weight behind him at all. And it's really quite odd how he controls, because it's sort of difficult to say how it controls, because, you know, it's one of those things where you need to play it to give it a shot, or you need to play it to know what I'm referring to, but basically it just doesn't feel right. Now, so it's really hard to try and recommend the game then, because if the game doesn't absolutely nail controls, there's no sort of special gimmick that will make it better, because, you know, like, games like, I'm trying to think of, like, some other 2D platformers, like, Unmechanical, I think that's a platformer, like, oh, whoops, I died, like, so games that also have a gimmick, in addition to their, platforming, like, you may not enjoy the platforming, but you may enjoy their gimmick, so you'll still play it, but this game, it really hasn't nailed the control, so it's sort of like, why should I play this? Why should I play this over some other game? Why should I buy this over Rayman Legends? Why should I buy this over Super Meat Boy? It's just weird. And also, in terms of the art style, now this is subjective, I know, but I really don't like it. The developers made this big deal out of the fact that it's playable for people of all ages, in terms of difficulty as well, but look at this guy. Look at him. Who wants their children to be playing a game with this guy? Look at that face. That screams like pedophile. That's what it looks like. That doesn't look like, oh, friendly video game mascot that should be in a 2D platformer. No, it looks like someone that's on a very bad list that I do not want any children to be near at all. It's just, I do not like it. Also, water sections. He can't swim, apparently. Apparently, on his world, they don't have any sort of water. So now, it's weird that this is set in Earth, because, well, it's Oozi Earth Adventure, so it's set in Earth. And what's weird is that it just doesn't really get that across. I believe it's set in Earth. That now comes from Earth. I don't think so, though, because he doesn't really look like any sort of animal I've seen on Earth. But he just sort of, so it doesn't really feel anything like Earth. It could be some random planet for all we know, and then we would have been fine with that. But it's called Oozi Earth Adventure. It's not called Oozi. Wow, I am not good at making that jump now. I did it like my first shot, but now I'm not. There are no lives, thankfully. So okay, hold on. I know what to do now. Let me just do it again. I just gotta focus on this. Let's go. Told you I'd do it. There are no lives, so you don't have to worry about losing any sort of lives. This isn't Mario or Sonic, so you don't really have to worry about it. That's another game that you could buy instead of this game. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, those are all on Steam as well, so you could buy that instead and have actual momentum when it comes to inclines. Because, like, look at his speed when he comes up a hill. It's exactly the same as if he was traversing down just a regular flat path. There's no real sort of, it's just, he doesn't feel like he's actually in this world. He feels like he's just sort of floating about. It just does not feel good. I do not like it. Something I also don't like is the, this general audio quality of this game is really lacking. Now, the music is really, uninspired, I guess would be maybe a correct word to say. There's really no sort of, the melodies in it just aren't really catchy. They don't really give off any real emotion, and it's just sort of there. It just doesn't really give you any sort of emotional connection. It doesn't increase the game. It doesn't really provide any sort of atmosphere to the game at all. So it's just sort of there, and it's incredibly forgettable. Like, as soon as like the music will stop, I will not remember any of the melody or any of the song or how it went at all. It's just a bit weird. So, not a big fan of that. Also, is that his ass crack I can see? I think oh my god, you can see his ass crack. Ridiculous. Whatever. Yeah, so also the music is just not really that interesting. And in terms of like audio design, in addition to the music, the sound effects just are a bit weird. They don't really have any real oomph behind them. It doesn't really feel good to stomp on an enemy. That's something games like Mario and Sonic and Rayman and all that do really well. They make it good to, you know, jump on enemies. It feels good to attack enemies. It feels good to perform some sorts of attacks on enemies. And this game, it just doesn't really feel that good. It just feels a bit bleh. So I don't really understand. So I don't really get any sort of like that. Did that feel good? Did you guys go like, oh hell yes, that's what I'm talking about? No, at least I didn't. You might have actually gone. You might actually think that's the best sound effect ever, but it really just feels like I did nothing to them, and it just doesn't feel good. And that's really just what this whole game is. That's the whole problem with this game. It doesn't really seem to do anything new or original, and it also doesn't really feel good. So it's just a random, it's just an uninspired game that doesn't really have any sort of, you know, interesting things in it. The sound effects are underwhelming. The game design is, well, it's not bad, but it's just, like, in terms of, like, level design, I mean, it's not bad, but it's just incredibly by the numbers that you could just find it in basically any old platformer, and in any old other platformer, it would probably be better, and probably at this point be cheaper as well, since the game is, like I said, like $10, but then you can play, like, Sonic 3 and Knuckles for something like, what, like $3 or $10 as well? Something cheap is what I'm trying to say. So, it's just, I don't understand who this game appeals to. The little press release I got said that it appeals to everyone. Anyone from hardcore to new children who haven't played a platformer before could get enjoyment out of this game. And I really don't think so, because, well, at least not hardcores anyway. Maybe children could, because children are pleased with anything that has flashing lights. But I don't think any hardcore people would actually get any sort of interest from this. I'm playing on normal though, not hardcore, so maybe it'd be better if I was playing on hardcore. But as of right now, it just sort of feels uninspired and not really interesting. Anyway, here's a boss fight. It's bossy and stuff. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna end it here because I'm just not feeling this game, and that's the biggest problem. The game feel just is off, and it's that sort of thing that just you can't really describe, I guess. But basically, I don't like it. If you do want to pick it up, it is on Steam for $10. And yeah, on that note, thank you for sticking around, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and GG.